On today's episode of Just Ask Caleb, how to speed up your sluggish smart TV, what's the difference between auto and pass-through on your TV, what's the best audio hookup for the Apple TV, and what is Dolby MAT and why should you care? Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to our Saturday morning ritual, or whenever you watch, that's fine too. We're more Schoolhouse Rock than Looney Tunes, but always entertaining, and you can almost always count on me for at least one dad joke. I'm the one making the jokes, Caleb Dennison, and I have handpicked some great questions to answer today, so let's just get stuck in, shall we? That was for all my Aussie friends out there. Speaking of, maybe we should do a Down Under episode. That sounds kind of fun, right? We could get Australia Drain Cleaning to collab, maybe. Ooh, or maybe Jasmine Hardy, or maybe Nikki Osborne, aka Bush Barbie. That would be a riot. Okay, I gotta lock in. Come on, Caleb, let's focus. Oh, but I just remembered. If you have a question you need answered, please email it to askcaleb@CalebRated.com, and we'll see if your question gets picked to be answered on the show. And if you need a guarantee that I will answer your question, please consider a membership, where members get early access to videos, and I work my tail off to answer all member questions because there's just no way that I can get to them all. There are 2 membership tiers, so check those out. Thank you very much. Now, before I get to the first question, I have a giveaway to announce. Yay! It's the 100K giveaway. But wait, we already hit 100,000 subscribers, so what gives? Well, my friends, that kind of happened unexpectedly fast. Thank you all very much for that. But yeah, we had a really hot video go up and we just, casually added like 10,000 subscribers in 5 days, which I am not complaining about. But it did kind of upend my plans for this big lead up to the 100K giveaway. But that's okay. We're still doing a giveaway. So if you aren't subscribed, subscribe now. Only subscribers are going to be eligible. And I can tell you that we have a Sony Bravia Theater quad lockdown as well. I just found out this today, as well as a Sony Bravia 7 television, 65-incher. I'm also reaching out to others to see what we can come up with. I'm also going to put myself in further debt and buy a few goodies myself. You'll get an update about the giveaway here soon. I just wanted to mention it now since as we're recording, we're like, what, Zeke? We're like 500 away. Zeke's doing the, we're close enough, right? 500 subscribers away, I think, from 100,000 subscribers. You guys, thank you. Again, thank you. You guys are just too awesome. Okay, moving on. First question comes from Dan Chapman, who writes, I have a question about the difference between auto and pass-through on the digital audio output setting of my television. I have a Hisense U8N and a Sony 4K Blu-ray player connected to a 5.1.2 soundbar. When trying to play lossless Dolby or DTS sound, I'm unsure whether to have my digital audio output set to auto or pass-through. I've heard that pass-through is the best, but I will sometimes have AV delay, which is resolved by setting it to auto. I'm just not sure if I get the same audio quality from auto that I do with pass-through. So I love this question, Dan, because it plays off of what we talked about last week. Link to that video here, because I think you should go watch it. So here's the deal, Dan. Pass-through is basically the don't touch my stuff setting. When you choose pass-through, you're basically telling the TV, hands off, do not pass go, do not collect $200, just shove the audio straight down to my soundbar. Now, as I mentioned in that video last week, your TV still has to support DTS just to pass a DTS signal, but it's otherwise very hands-off. Pass-through is perfect when you want lossless Dolby True HD or DTS HD Master audio, the big, juicy, full-fat audio formats. But because the TV isn't touching the audio, it's also not doing anything to align the timing between the audio and the video. So your soundbar gets this big raw audio bit stream, takes a moment to chew on it, and then suddenly the dialogue is landing half a syllable behind the actor's lips. That's the AV delay that you're seeing. It doesn't mean that anything's broken, it just means that pass-through is doing exactly what it says. absolutely nothing. Auto is there to help you out, right? Audio is like, okay, look, I got this. Now, in helping you out with the lip sync issues, the TV might down convert the audio to Dolby Digital Plus or to regular DTS or whatever it thinks will play nicely with your soundbar. And because the TV is doing the audio management, it can better line up the timing. That's why auto often fixes your lip sync issues. The trade-off is that you might not be getting true lossless audio anymore. You're still getting very good sound. I mean, really good. Honestly, most folks struggle to tell the difference, and that's especially true with a soundbar versus like high-resolution speaker separates and AV receiver system. But technically, it's not quite the same pristine, untouched signal. So if Passthrough is the artisanal, handcrafted version of the audio, then auto is like the store brand, right? It's still good, but maybe missing a little of that chef's kiss. So what should you do, Dan? Well, that's gonna be up to how you feel, I think. If you want the absolute best audio quality, stick with Passthrough. That's how you get the real Dolby True HD and DTS HD Master audio experience. However, if lip sync problems are gonna drive you up the wall, you need to switch to auto. Life is too short for everything to look like a dubbed kung fu movie. Neither choice is wrong. It's just a matter of which annoyance you can better tolerate. That nagging idea that you've taken a tiny bit of a audio downgrade, or feeling like the universe is just out of sync. Now, if your soundbar has its own audio delay adjustment, try bumping that up a few milliseconds. Reduce the delay while staying on Passthrough. And sometimes that gets you the best of both worlds, but if not, auto is a perfectly respectable option. I know I would choose auto if I'm using a soundbar, 100%. Next up, Ryan M. writes, "Hi Caleb, my 5-year-old Sony A8H's Google OS has become extremely slow over the years with each software update. There's a very big noticeable lag when I press a button on the remote control and then the response from the TV, say when I select which input to use or which app to open. There were times where the TV froze and I had to unplug it from the outlet and plug the TV back in. Is this a known issue, and how can I make it as fast as it was when I first bought it?" Hey Ryan, thank you so much for sending your question in, even though I know it comes from a place of frustration, which believe me, I totally understand. And for everyone else watching, we're about to talk about the only way to speed up your sluggish smart TV, so stay tuned. But first, Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, the Sony A8H, which is as difficult to say today as it was back then when I reviewed it, that TV shipped with Android TV. Now, yes, what we call Google TV today runs over Android TV, so it's kind of like a skin, I guess. But the distinction is that the A8H ran a more stock version of Android TV when it came out. If it's been updated to run the newer Google TV interface, meaning it looks like this when you turn it on, well, that's both cool and problematic for you. First, a little recent history lesson. When Android TV first came out, and then again when Google TV first came out, those TVs running that software were a little sluggish even when they were brand new. The reason is because Android TV, and especially the Google TV version, were notoriously resource intensive. In other words, they needed more horsepower to run smoothly than the TV chipsets had at the time. Did the OS run on the TV? Well, yeah, but it was not an especially snappy, satisfying experience. I remember, I think it was around the K series, so like the X900K and the A95K. That's when I remember that the chips finally became powerful enough to run everything super fast and smooth. Now, for everyone out there watching, here's the deal. Your TV isn't all that different from an older mobile phone or laptop, okay? The software that runs on modern machines is gonna bog down those older devices. Now, the good news is that, generally speaking, now, the TVs are getting chips that are overpowered so that they can cope with future software developments. And that's kind of true of mobile phones and laptops too. But with TVs, back then, nobody knew they were gonna need to be such powerful computers. So it took a while for the TVs to get really powerful chips. Regardless, if your TV is being sluggish, there are really only two things that you can do. One is you can unplug the TV for 5 minutes and then plug it back in. forcing a sort of reboot, which might clear a cache or something, and that might help a little bit for a little while. But honestly, the best way to really get a performance improvement is to stop using that built-in smart TV interface entirely and instead use a more powerful device that you connect to one of your HDMI ports. So let's say that you have a Google TV and you want to stick with that experience. You would want to go get the new Google TV streamer, and I think ON makes one for Walmart too. If you have a Roku TV, get a Roku streaming stick or box. If you have a Fire TV, get a modern Fire TV stick or the Fire TV Cube. Now, if you have a Samsung Tizen or LG WebOS TV that's gotten too sluggish to tolerate, well, you're going to have to switch teams. And I prefer Google TV personally, but Roku is definitely the crowd favorite, especially among the less tech savvy. So pick what you like best. By the way, I have links to those devices down in the description. So if you get one, maybe consider using one of my links. It helps support the channel. So thank you for that. And speaking of supporting the channel, have you smashed the like button and subscribed? What? No? Would you consider doing that? Thank you very much. Oh, and drop a comment about your favorite streaming platform and why it's your favorite, so I know that you made it this far in the video, okay? Thank you. Okay, this next one is kind of serendipitous because I was talking to a friend and also longtime channel supporter, Lisa B. Y'all have seen her in the comments, I know it. I was talking to her about this very topic earlier this week, and after I did some digging around and reading, I actually learned a lot. Anyway, here's the question. It comes from Michael Kirkman, who writes, "Hey Caleb, I have a Sony Bravia 8, a Sony HT-A7000 soundbar, and I use an Apple TV. The Apple TV I have connected directly to my TV. Now my soundbar has HDMI inputs. So should the Apple TV be connected to the inputs on the soundbar and not the TV directly, or does it really matter?" So Michael, thank you for your question. I'm going to answer your specific questions momentarily, but first I want to speak more broadly about the best way to hook up your Apple TV if getting the best audio is a top priority. So the thing about the Apple TV that I think a lot of folks don't know about is that it will not send out what's called bitstream audio. That means it decodes all the audio on board the Apple TV and sends it out as LPCM, or linear PCM decoded digital audio. Now, most of the time, that's not a problem. Most of the time, which is why you don't hear a bunch of complaints about sound quality from Apple TV owners. However, as my friend Lisa was noticing, with her Apple TV connected directly to her TV and then her eARC port running sound to her receiver, she wasn't getting a Dolby Atmos flag or symbol on her receiver when watching certain streaming services, even though the title said it was in Dolby Atmos. Now, on the one hand, she did get Dolby Atmos from Netflix from time to time, and I'll explain why in a moment, but she could not get Atmos from Disney Plus no matter what she did. But why? What's the hang up, and why might you want to always connect your Apple TV directly to your soundbar or receiver so long as it supports HDR video? Well, let's talk about a little known audio transport format called Dolby MAT. Dolby MAT stands for Dolby Metadata Enhanced Audio Transmission. And in a nutshell, what it does is send Atmos audio information as metadata along for the ride with an already decoded audio signal that travels as PCM over HDMI. That is a lot of acronyms, I know, but try to follow me here. With a compressed or encoded audio format called bitstream, the Dolby Atmos audio is part of the audio mix, and it's extracted and decoded and recognized with all the other speaker channels. But if the audio has already been decoded and is sent as an uncompressed digital stream, like the Apple TV does, how are you going to get Atmos audio information passed along? Well, you send it as a sort of metadata piggyback. Now here's the thing. Most soundbars and AV receivers have no problem dealing with this. TVs though, that's a different story. Again, if you didn't see last week's Just Ask Caleb episode, you'll want to go back and watch it. But to recap, a TV has to communicate with all the other devices it's connected to via something called EDID. And when it does that, everything in the system has to agree on a way of doing things. Sometimes, as Lisa found out, certain apps will demand a recognition that Dolby MAT is supported, and if the app doesn't get that assurance, it's not going to send out that Dolby Atmos info. Now, that doesn't mean that the audio you get is going to be bad. It's just not Atmos. So sometimes what you have to do is just take the TV out of the equation. TVs introduce a lot of complications when it comes to audio, and sometimes it's better to just knock them out. That's why connecting an Apple TV to a receiver or a soundbar first is the better call for audio quality anyway. Thing is, in order for this to work out right, or optimally for your video too, your soundbar needs to have an HDMI input, and your receiver's HDMI ports need to support HDR. Otherwise, you're gonna lose some video stuff by not connecting the Apple TV to your TV first. Now, this is by no means a detailed explainer of Dolby MAT. Like, your Xbox uses MAT for Atmos in games and from streaming apps, and Dolby MAT is lossless audio, so it sounds as good as delivering a bit stream in most cases. There's more to it. I just wanted to chat about it in the context of the Apple TV since it's come up a few times over the last few weeks. Anyway, if you've ever been confused about why you aren't getting Atmos from your Apple TV, now you have an idea. And those of you who have your Apple TV connected directly to your TV, you now have yet another reason to toy around with things and upset everyone who finally figured out how to work your system. Oh, people hate me sometimes. Anyway, guys, time sure flies when you're having fun, right? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to send your questions via email to askcaleb@CalebRated.com. Please drop a comment and let me know how you like today's show. And don't forget to subscribe if for no other reason you want in on that giveaway. I'll see you on the next one, and until then, take care of yourself. Oh, well then turn it off.